Hey, we're Friday Pilots Club, and we're hanging out with Rob from Front Row Live.
I want to talk about your signing with Big Machine Records along with John Barbatos Records. Talk to me about the signing and how did you guys first get involved in the first place?
So, Friday Pilots Club started when Drew and I met at a party, like years ago, probably 4 years ago. Started working on some music together, and then it sort of progressed into just us, and then sort of reforming the band with some other musician friends that we have. Um, the whole signing process was so much fun. It was actually part of a competition. It was like a nationwide like battle of the bands. And we just, and it was kind of on a whim too that we got into the competition. And then over the course of like 2 months, we played one show, and then they deliberated, and then there was like a nationals round with four other amazing bands who most of whom we're still friends with in LA, and we came out on top. And it was sort of a weird way to start. I'm sure you don't meet a whole lot of people that like were in a competition and then they're still doing it 2 years later, and they have a wonderful relationship with their label and everything. But we're very lucky.
Big Machine has been mainly known for a lot of their country artists, and then they kind of started that collaboration with John Barbados, and then brought in Bad Flower, another favorite band of mine. So how awesome is it to kind of be like something new for a new project by a major label that's been focused on a different kind of genre. But did that kind of add pressure to you guys as far as like your creative process or as far as like the future of the band?
Kinda, yeah. I think it's really cool because, for as you're saying, Big Machine is primarily a country label, so their processes and kind of day to day is somewhat similar for most artists. But Caleb and I were kind of a weird, a weird duo, and we're not like a super typical band for Big Machine. So I think in a lot of ways it's exciting and fresh for them to work on an alt act like us. And there is definitely pressure, I would say so, because I mean, Caleb and I want to be the biggest band in the world, and we want to represent the label, and we want to just really be trailblazers in this new venture for them with Big Machine John Barbados. So there is pressure, but I think Caleb and I do well under pressure, so I wouldn't say it gets to us too much.
And also, people at the label have, first of all, well said, but second of all, Scott was in bands growing up. Scott Borchetta, John Varvatos was part of Republic Records for a while, and has worked with, brought Bad Flower with him over to Big Machine. Heather Luke has worked on so many of our favorite big rock artists. She worked on the Black Keys. She worked with Coldplay. Julian, our A&R guy, did A&R or something, I believe, for Coldplay and Radiohead and all these different people. So no one's naive to this genre. And it's really cool to see them, you can see that they get excited about sort of doing this, and it really, it gives us a lot of energy.
Now, Drew, you mentioned that you guys want to be the biggest band in the world, and it's kind of interesting because it's just two of you guys, but when you listen to your music, it sounds so full, as if you have that full band behind you guys. So when you guys are creating your music, Breaking My Bones, for example, when you guys are creating this track, what is that creative process like between the two of you, and how do you guys make it such a full sound?
So yeah, every song is very different, and I think that's a big part of what keeps it fresh within Friday Pilots Club. Because there's some songs where Caleb will send me a voice memo, himself in his living room playing acoustic guitar, or sometimes it's me sending him a crazy instrumental with no vocals on it, and just seeing if it inspires him creatively. And that's how Breaking My Bones started. Was just this crazy instrumental thing. But then going from there, to answer the second part of your question, when we're in the studio, something I think we try to never lose sight of per se is like the beautiful chaos and almost a sort of randomness and unpredictability, because it's like even in Breaking My Bones there's that like main synth, and it's like, well, is that like kind of a synth, is it kind of a guitar, is it an 808? And it's like, okay, well, maybe we take the 808 and we put it through a guitar pedal, or like all that. So there's this like level of experimentation in all tiers of the process, you know, whether it's like blending the electronic drums with the real drums, and then blending 808s and synths with guitars, and then, you know, with Caleb's vocals, like having like his super natural vocal, which is something that's like so important because his voice is so like beautiful. Like, listen to all the Friday Pilots Club songs, Caleb's voice is like but like his real voice, natural, blended with like a bunch of affected stuff. Once you get to like the final layers of building the song, it's like it sounds just massive. And it also you can't have that conversation without mentioning the three guys who play with us live, who are absolutely amazing musicians, Sean, Eric, and James, and they're so good at like taking these Neanderthal parts that Caleb and I have come up with and kind of finessing them. Like, our drummer will be like, yeah, like, you brought me this drum part that no human can actually play, but like, here's how you can actually play it and make it sound better. So they're a big part of that as well.
Caleb, with your vocals, how did you kind of discover your sound and your way of singing? And you know, I guess for the two of you, like, what was it about Friday Pilots Club that made you realize this is who this, you know, what this band is all about? This is the sound that you guys are focused on.
Learning how to not pretend like what I had been doing was good. You know, if you go back and you watch, like, we toured Glory for months, and we that song is hard to sing, and you can go back and you can watch videos of me having problems singing it. And working with Drew, and like, you know, it just sounds like we're just flattering the shit out of each other, but we are a very strong team. But working with Drew and him being like, well, you just need to do this better, and then me going and getting resources and coming back and being like, okay, I've worked on this, we actually need to take this song down a half step or something like that when we're playing it live, because it's not good for my range to be singing this, you know, in this range every single night. And getting more attentive to those little things, and then also just like warming up. It sounds stupid, but like, warm up, be who you are on stage. You know, don't, like, you're going to be your biggest critic, and as long as you can just kind of transport yourself outside of your mind when you're playing, and it's all about the fun, like, you're naturally going to be who you are. And I think that I've gotten good at that live. Is just like, all right, this is my voice, this is who I am. I don't doubt that. You know, and even when I fuck up, like, I'm just like, I need to keep going, because that's not what it's about. Some of my favorite singers fuck up all the time. Look at Julian Casablancas. Guy doesn't sing perfectly. You know, Talking Heads, like, it's just like, you know, people like that. Like, it's not about that. It's about the soul. It just really helps when you can sing it perfectly. So thank you for asking me that, by the way. I appreciate the flattering.
I also want to add to what Caleb's saying, just speaking to his ability. It's like, it's wild too, as we all get better. Like, Caleb continually will have these moments where the rest of us are like, dude, I did not know you could fucking do that. Like, and Breaking My Bones was one of those moments where, like, he went in to record the final vocal, and it was funny because the records were like completely demoed in this studio that I'm in now, and this is where we do most of our work. And the vocals were good, and I was like, oh, like, let's just use the demo vocals, they're fine. And Caleb's like, no, I'm gonna retrack everything. And we're like, dude, you're crazy, these are great takes. But sure enough, like, he went in and he did stuff just singing wise with his tone, with his timbre, that was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even know you could do that thing. And there's a couple other songs on the record, like, I don't want to give too much away, but like, he like reaches parts of his voice that, like, I don't think any of us knew he could do, or like parts he didn't know he had. So And that's a big part of the process as well, is like kind of all of us having these oh shit moments with one another, and we're like, oh fuck, I gotta step my game up. Like that was amazing.
It's all about curiosity, man. It's and excitement. Like if you're not excited to do what you're doing, you're not going to do it well.
Totally.
I think that like that's the reason. Like you can watch a lot of videos of me fucking up, but like if I don't maintain that sort of curiosity and that push to like go out there and like sing the fucking loudest and the most soulful I possibly can every single time, I'm going to lose interest and I'm just going to suck anyway. It's not going to be soulful, and I would rather mess up than not be soulful. So, and a studio environment is a really great like time to like have fun with it. You know, also walk in knowing what you're gonna do, but also like when you get the the essential take down, to go in there one or two more times and be like, well, what can I really do to send this track into the stratosphere?
Right, and as you guys kind of mentioned the studio, as you guys are working on this upcoming debut EP, like, do you guys did you guys go into the studio with these tracks already written, or do you guys like to go into the studio and start from scratch in the studio? How does that work for you guys?
So this, when we, it was a really interesting process. We went to our label the first week of February because we were like, you know, we haven't put out original music in a while. They haven't heard any of the new demos. Like, let's just go to Nashville, meet up, just like show them kind of what we've been working on and whatnot. And we we flew our A&R guy to Chicago, Julian Raymond, like the week before, and just to like kind of like test the songs out. And he was blown away, and he was like, "You're not gonna like go to Nashville and play them like some slightly unfinished music, right?" So we were like, "Oh fuck, we weren't gonna go to Nashville and play them some slightly unfinished music."
No, we weren't.
Like, not at all. So Caleb and I are in like go mode, and we finished the songs, like put all the finishing touches on, thinking we were just gonna show them completed demos. But then after the meeting, they were really impressed by the songs, and they thought they were like ready to go. They were like, let's just get them mixed and then you're done. But Caleb and I, you know, we self-produce, we do it all ourselves, we record everything.
True produces. He is a amazing producer. I work with what we in the biz call garage band, and it sounds like a Black Keys song whenever I demo out my songs on garage.
Well, either way, we do it all ourselves in here. And I think Caleb and I were really adamant on like, we want to do it right. This is our first like real EP of original music. We're going to go to the studio, and we're going to like do it proper. So it's an interesting thing because I think probably 70% of what we did here in the demos is on the final recording. And then we ended up redoing all Caleb's vocals, and a bunch of other like random bits and boops. So, with that being said, going into the studio normally it's just different every time. You know, some days Caleb will bring me a song and it's like, here's like a fully fleshed out idea, let's just do some fine tuning. But then other times we'll text each other and we're like, dude, are you in the mood to write? Fuck yeah. And we like, you know, get a case of beer, come here, we go on the like rooftop patio and talk about a theme, and then we come in here and we just like write a song. So it's always different.
Can I ask you a first question?
To me or to Drew?
No, to you. To you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever used a dating service?
A what?
Like a dating service.
Oh,
like
a dating service. I thought you said daping. I was like, I've never heard of that. No, I have not.
Okay. Well, songwriting and producing is so much like that. I imagine, even though I've never really used it, I just imagine that when you meet somebody, unless it's strictly like, let's go in and like, let's just like work on drums and that's it. You have to like flirt with a song and with the idea of a song before you like really go in and like start working on it. And I love, like, Drew and I have just become experts of creating atmosphere and talking about characters behind songs before we go in and are able to sort of embody those, as you know, him as a producer and me as the vocalist, and be like, what is the character here? What do they look like? And I know that was a weird analogy to give, but like, it is such a weird, intimate relationship with songs, and it is hit or miss. Like, you can, like, I can work on something all night and I bring it to Drew, and you know, he's very kind. He'll be like, oh dude, I love that. But then there's one thing that he says and I'm just like, oh, he doesn't want to work on this song.
He's right though.
Yeah, and same with Drew. Like, Drew will show me something, and it's so funny how many of our songs Drew preluded by like, you're gonna hate this, but and then we end up like, you know, that's the way Breaking My Bones started. Drew was like, I don't think you'll go for this, and I was just like trying to put on my like open-minded cap, and I was like, yeah, let's do it, and we get something fun like this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But I mean, it's good that you have that kind of mentality when you guys are starting to write, because like I've talked to other artists where it's like they go into the studio with like 30-40 songs and then they're kind of struggling to kind of like take some out or put some in, but you guys already know like what's good before you guys are actually like starting to record. So I guess that makes your process a lot easier in a sense.
Yeah. Well, I will say we wrote a lot. Like, we started this process with 55 songs and we whittled it down to 6. But I think it is like there was a strong basis of exactly what Caleb was talking about, where it's like, are we both excited about the song? You know? And I think like we can, when we look at these 6 songs, it's like, it was that thing where like, we were both like, dude, this is amazing. Like, and like we talk about this a lot, but it's like, it's the kind of music where it's like, yeah, I would listen to this song on my own, even though it's my own band, because I love it so much. And I think that's kind of the goal with like, yeah, maybe there's, you know, 49 other songs that are dog ass, but these 6 songs are really good. So I don't know.
That's awesome though. Well, I'm definitely excited for this EP. Do you guys have like an idea of when you guys might be dropping this, or are you guys still currently like producing or recording it in the studio?
It's fully completed, mixed, mastered. We're looking at late fall currently. More singles to come, more news to come. So I know obviously too with COVID and trying to potentially play a show, do a live stream show to support the record, dates could change. So more on that soon.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Definitely excited for the music. I'm glad that, you know, I was introduced to you guys, even though it was just recently, but I'm glad that I was introduced, because I'm definitely digging the tracks that you guys have so far. So I'm looking forward to the future of that, and thanks for taking the time.